Leo Ascendant, Leo Rising. This is the second half of May 2020, and I am going to be focusing on what happens. We've got Mercury transiting out of Gemini energy and going into Cancer energy. So this will change a focus on what you think about, how you communicate, where your daily activities, where your mind is going to stay busy. We're also going to talk about the new moon energy, okay, and where that was happening in your life. And then I'm going to touch in on the month of June for you, Leo. June is a big month because we have 2 eclipses occurring. So I'm going to give out dates. I'm going to give out degrees. We're going to try to narrow down what areas of your life these events occur by understanding your rising sign. I can pinpoint what house these events happen in. So you want to make sure that you listen for the degrees that I mentioned. There are different schools of thought on astrology. So some folks listen and they say, hey, you know what? I'm looking and this is in a different house than what you're saying. Just do me a favor and go by degrees, or better yet, comment your digits below and I can send you a chart that's the same chart that I look at when I'm talking to you about you. Leave your digits below, comment, leave feedback. You have any questions at all about anything I'm about to go into, don't hesitate. Leo time for your all astrology. So the new moon was in Gemini, and the new moon energy was at 2 degrees, okay, 2 degrees Gemini. So that means you've got your sun and your moon together, right? And there was a new moon ceremony done on the 22nd, and hopefully you got to be part of it. And all that we require is for you to put your intentions down below, because remember, that's what new moons are all about. What it is you are bringing into the world, what you're manifesting, what you are creating, what you want to draw into your life. And we also do full moon ceremonies, which are all about what you want to release, what we're letting go, what we're done with. The new moon energy would have been in your 11th house. So your 11th house is your friends, your groups. Now remember, when I say friends, it doesn't necessarily have to be people that you consider best friends, okay? Your best friend folks can fall like into your 7th house, significant one-on-one relationships, your 8th house, which are really bonded relationships. We have deep emotional bonds. Could even fall into your 4th house, where you have people in your life who aren't blood, but they feel like family. It could even go into your 6th house, where you have there could be coworkers, people who are part of your daily routines. So there's lots of different ways where, lots of different buckets that people we know that they fall into and we call friends, right? But interestingly, when we think of the 11th house and groups, 11th house is also the internet. The 11th house is its ruler is Uranian energy, and Uranus was all about the advancements for humanity, all right? Things that were created. All these wonderful Tesla, I'm hearing over and over. Tesla, electricity. All right, this is all that ingenuity, originality, creative. I'm the inventor. Okay, and things that would benefit man. Okay, so that 11th house, the internet falls there. And so when we think of Gemini energy in the 11th house, well, Gemini energy is also social media, because it's how we're getting our information now, right? Back in the day, your 3rd house, Gemini, would have been considered newspapers, okay? Would have been radio, all right? But now we get information like at the touch of a button. So internet, right? And having Gemini there, like, you get lots of information through people, right? People that you talk to, people that you network. Great online networking. That is what that is, right? 11th house with Gemini there. So Gemini energy can also be our friends. It can also be our siblings. Think about that, right? Because Gemini energy is your community, your local community. When we're little, it's the people we grew up with. It's our schoolmates. It's the people in our house. It's the kids in our neighborhood. Then when we get to be adults, it's the next door neighbors and the dog. It's people in your immediate environment, right? Like, I'm here. I live with folks that I'm not related to by blood, but they, in a sense, definitely fall into my Gemini place because they're my peers. Okay, I don't go to school with them, right? I don't work with them. I live with them, but at the same time, they're my peers, all right? And so think about the word peers when you think of your 11th house energy. So keep in mind, we're talking Gemini, which is sales, which is communication, which is thinking and writing and speaking. Gemini is very crafty, it's hands, it's talking, it's my lungs. All right, so we know, well, we've found out all too well about this pandemic stuff, right? A Neptune thing, and Gemini representing lungs, and seeing interesting lineups for folks who have Mercury and the planet Neptune squaring, right? Or like energies, right? Because Mercury rules Gemini. Mercury also rules Virgo. So understanding where Neptune slash Piscean energy is in someone's chart, whether there's a square that's occurring, conjunctions, oppositions, all these things would be sort of telltale signs, and not the only thing, like other additional factors would be involved, to possibly people who were struck down by the pandemic, or people who at least got it but yet didn't have a severe case of it. There's lots of different things that you can see and lots of layers of stuff to dig into. We don't have time for that right now. Understand something else about the 11th house. The 11th house is wishes. It's your hopes and your wishes, all right? The 11th house is like, it's the best house. So when the new moon is happening there, I want you to really see, do you have a planet at 2 degrees Gemini? Do you have your cusp line, maybe, to your 11th house at 2 degrees Gemini? Because if you do, that would make this this new moon extra powerful. This would be considered your personal new moon. I literally had this is going to be a freaky story. My moon, my personal moon, is in my 11th house. And we happened to be coming upon a new moon. And it just so happened that the new moon and the degrees of that new moon matched my natal moon exactly. So I had a new moon on top of my natal moon. And this is when I started doing more work and realizing there was power in that, and the depth of the power if you have a planet or a moon there. Now, why do I say moon? Because moons are emotions. And so when we can take those emotions, remember, emotions are our energy. And if you can focus them, you then you begin the process of manifestation. Yes, there are lots of layers to it. It's not just wish upon a star and bam, you wake up the next day and it's there. It doesn't happen that way. There is a process to it, but it's the big step. It's like a huge kicking off point. It's like that spark that encourages the flame to grow and to become a fire. So, funny thing is that when I had that new moon, my astrology partner, we were here in this house. I didn't live here at the time, but my astrology partner did with her husband. And we were doing our new moon intentions together. As we were going through the stuff, like really getting into it, I realized, I had said, oh my God, this is happening right on my moon. Holy crap, like this is a big deal. And so I had done some additional research. Lo and behold, I found out this one author called it a granddaddy new moon. Basically, it's your personal private new moon. And because the 11th house is the house of setting intentions, I knew I was in for a gift. And so not shortly after that, I lost where I lived. I had lost my job. I had lost where I lived. I had no idea where I was going to be going. Within about 9 months after I had moved out of where I had been, I ended up here. And I've been here ever since. I've been at this location. Now, at the time that I set my new moon intention, I had no idea that I was going to be losing my job. I had no idea that I was then going to lose where I lived. I had no idea of the major changes I was going to be going through. However, my 11th house, when you think about that, right? Wishes, intentions, and friendships, right? And the fact that I am now here, I'm in this home, even though I didn't say in my intentions I need a place to live, because I, again, wasn't wishing for that. But I did ask to be surrounded, regardless of where I was. I knew I was going somewhere. I knew my life was changing. I knew there were big things coming. I just kept asking that wherever I physically ended up, I had specific things, even though they weren't. You know, it was things like, I need to be in a safe environment. I need to be surrounded by people who are loving. I need to be surrounded by people who are kind. I need to have everything that I need, right? Like never go hungry. I need to have, you know, like a safe automobile that's working, that's comfortable. You know what I mean? Like I made my intentions that way. The way that it turned out, when I think back on it, I think, wow, I'm really fortunate because I had been setting intentions that weren't so specific, where I was then blocking doors, blocking paths, blocking opportunities, but they were, it's funny, it's like you have to be specific in the generality. You have to have a specific, you have to have an emotion connected to it. And when I realized the potentiality of it, that's when I really understood that, you know, with this book I was reading, I really got it. I really understood, like, okay, this makes sense. The emotions are power. When you understand astrology and you use the energy, you are basically riding a wave, right? Where you don't have to do the work anymore. You get to get up on the board and just ride the energy into the shore, right? Ride it into safety. And that's pretty much what I did. So your new moon, you want to see, because if it's in your 11th house, a powerful placement. See if you have a planet or a point. See if you have a moon. And if you don't know this stuff, if you don't know anything about your chart, just comment. I can at least find that out for you. And I can comment back to you and let you know. So the new moon intention for you, since it's going to be in your 11th house, again, this is friendships, this is groups, this is communication. Because it's Gemini energy, it is sales, and it definitely is networking, right? People that you can talk to and communicate with that can somehow help progress your plans, right? But weaving it in with others and what it is that they want to get done. Remember, Gemini energy is business and trade. And being in the 11th house in your local community, this is going to work really well for you. Super well. You've got air in your 11th house. You've got air in your 7th house, right? Which is, you have Aquarius energy there. Significant one-on-one relationships. And your other air energy is your 3rd house, Libran energy. So that means that creates a grand air trine. So when I say air trine, it adds great ease, right? It's almost magical. Things just occur almost effortlessly. Air is talking, thinking, and communication. This lines up with this Gemini energy. Now let's get into the next part of this, which is, what do you wish for, right? What is your intention? Some folks, when you ask them, if they're like, okay, you could only have 3 wishes, what are they going to be? You know, it's like the whole Aladdin and the lamp. You really got to think it through. And you got to figure out, okay, what do I really need? Because sometimes what we want definitely doesn't line up with what we need, or it creates problems. So we're basing it all on our Venus energy, which, remember, Venus is connected to Taurus, which is, Venus rules Taurus, or as I say, Tyrannus, because Uranus is in Taurus right now. And it's shaking up our value systems. It's realigning what it is that we actually need. It is telling us, it is showing us, I should say, by making drastic changes in our lives. And it is saying, do you still value this? Maybe you did once a long time ago. Is it possible that you have outgrown this thing that you once valued? Now, for certain rising signs, yes, this is relationships, because Uranus energy is also, there's this freedom aspect about it. I want to be freed. I don't want to feel like I'm being chained. I don't want to feel like I'm being, held back. So Uranus energy, 7th house, which means you could be a very independent individual, right? Because that's kind of what that Uranian energy feels like. Someone who loves being in groups, but is easier working within the group. Might have some difficulties connecting one-on-one with people. Okay. Now, yeah, there's a lot of other things in your chart that would have varying degrees of the intensity of that. okay? And there's a whole bunch of other factors involved. So your focus is really Venus, okay? Venus and Taurus. Your Taurus energy is in your 10th house, and this is work. This is your ambitions. This is your career. But a better way to talk about that 10th house for you is it's like you have this authoritative value, okay? The 10th house is, when we think of the 10th house, it is where we each express our best. There is this knowledge you had when you came in, when you were born, and it's like a gift because we are in some way this authoritative person. Okay, we somehow have this, we have knowledge, we have an understanding, because at this stage, especially, depending upon your age, you're ready. You're ready to be in the spotlight. You're ready to be on the stage. You're ready to be known for this particular thing. Now, this is Taurus energy, okay? Remember, Taurus is tied to the earth, so it's values, okay? And if you're reevaluating values, right? Because Venus in Gemini, which means thinking, rethinking. Venus is retrograde, which means I'm really internalizing. I'm internalizing my relationships, my significant one-on-one relationships, my love life relationships, people who are part of my life, people who are important to me. I'm reevaluating my value, my self-value, my self-acceptance, my self-love, how I treat myself. Am I embracing who I am? Do I love me? We're rethinking all this. There's just this whole choice points. Wherever you have retrogrades happening, these are times in your life where events occur, right? Whether it's just a communication, whatever it could be, and somehow something comes up and it triggers you to say, do I really want that person in my life anymore? Or do I really want this in my life anymore? Or do we need this in the house? Like, we don't need this. We've outgrown this shit, right? Like, stuff like that. You really start, but remember, Venus does rule relationships. And Venus represents how I love, who I love, how I want to be loved. That is Venusian energy. So this is your 11th house. So this means this is going on with friends. This is going on in groups, social circles. All right. This is going on the internet. So whether that means you have this newfound love for more of it, or you're realizing there's some that you just don't use anymore. You're like deleting apps left and right, or maybe creating new ones, getting new ones, downloading, uploading, whatever. It's all about just reprioritizing because you're going through a period of reevaluation. Now your Venusian energy of retrograde, it goes between the degrees of like 21 degrees and 5 degrees Gemini. So again, understanding if you have any planets anywhere at those points, okay? Yes, the new moon happens long before Venus gets back to the 5 degree. Venus doesn't get back to 5 degrees till June. I think it's the end of June, like June 25th. Hold on, I've got it right here. Yeah, it's June 24th, June 25th when she gets back to 5 degrees, okay? She stays in Gemini, right? Because after that retrograde, she stands still and then she goes forward. So see where those degrees are in your chart and you'll better understand. Remember, Venus also represents money, all right? So there's this whole idea, especially around the new moon, be careful. We have this communication with Venus on top of Mercury. They're together and they're in Gemini energy around the 22nd of May. And so they're in an exact square with Neptune energy. So what that means is there can be highly delusional communication at this time. You can expect this, definitely via internet, social media, because it's Gemini, right? And it's being squared by Neptune. So that means Neptune in Pisces at 21 degrees is squaring these two planets, right? And it should make for an interesting time because it's Neptune. Remember, Neptune makes things fuzzy, all right? It takes things and it distorts them. It also is really supportive energy for progressing untruths, right? It's some of it could be deliberate, but at the same time, some folks can be like, I didn't know that was true. They might see something that's shocking and then they just go ahead and they hit the share button and they don't check to see if it's true, right? And so there's a lot of this, I can believe something. I see it and I'm readily able to just go ahead and jump on that bandwagon and say, oh yeah, that's that, and not even see if it's fact or crap. But it is a great energy to be very artsy, to be very creative. Pisces is music and theater. Pisces is, yeah, whatever your craft is, whatever your art is, whatever your form of expression, this is a really nice energy for this. It's the best energy for it, actually. It's definitely not a good energy for thinking and being rational and being logic. It's a great day to meditate. It's a great day to have a new moon ceremony. Now, let's talk about your eclipse. This is just going to touch on the eclipse for you. Okay, I'm going to come out with deeper dives into the eclipse per rising signs. I already have a couple of the eclipse energies out, so if you have your chart, I gave the degrees and the dates. You should be able to find that very easily, and if you can't, that's okay. I will meet you wherever it is that you're at. So for Leo Ascendant, the June eclipse, the first one, because there's going to be 2 in June. The first one is at 1534 Sagittarius energy. Now remember, eclipse energies, you want to look and see, do you have something on that point at 1534? Hold on a minute, where's my little, whatever, I'll use this. So you want to see if you have something here at 1534, and this Sag energy is going to be in your 5th house. This is romance. This is your dating, relating, mating. This is also your children. This is your creative projects. This is gambling. This is having a good time with my body. All right, this is having fun and laughter and entertainment. 5th house, 15 degrees Sag. So at the opposite, if you have something there, it's called a conjunction. If you have something opposite of it, it's called an opposition, which means the opposite of Sagittarius is Gemini. So you're looking to see if you have anything at 15 degrees Gemini. That is the eclipse. This is a South Node lunar eclipse. All right. If you haven't watched the video that's already out, it goes into explaining the meaning of the South Node lunar eclipse. Go down below, find the link, I'll attach it, and make sure you watch that. That will help you to deeper understand this. To understand the location, right? This is your 5th house, and the opposite of your 5th house is your 11th house, which we already talked about. Social groups, right? Friends, internet, your wishes, hopes, and dreams. And I don't mean dreams as in I go to sleep dreams. I mean like, yeah, that's, I want to own a business, and I want to like, have my own company making cheesecakes, right? Or whatever the hell it is, right? That's that 11th house, okay? It's a very humanitarian house. It's where we get involved with folks because it's progressive things that are for the best for all involved. It is the location of service for humanity. That's the 11th house. That's Aquarian energy. So your Sag, having that eclipse there in your 5th house, this is, like I said, the romance department, the fun department, the risk-taking department. And eclipses means it's a full moon there. So it's emotions, all right? Big emotions at eclipse time. See if you have a planet. See if you have a house point. Check it out. If you don't know and you want to know, comment your digits below. Now, there's going to be another eclipse June 21st. And on June 21st, this is going to be a really big, now this eclipse, they're calling it a mega eclipse because it's a cardinal eclipse. It's in the sign of Cancer, which is a cardinal sign. Cancer is, the moon is its ruler, so more emotions. It's at 0 degrees, is always a cardinal point in any sign, but it's a cardinal degree in a cardinal sign. The word cardinal means something new. This is because it's the cardinal Cancer moon energy, think of all the keywords that you can relate to the moon and to Cancer energy. So this is home, this is family. A lot of folks moving, a lot of folks already moved, a lot of folks have already been through this because they had something at that 0 degrees point. If you don't know, comment your stuff below. Cardinal release. We're releasing something. You have to release something and let something new come in. But it's a new beginning. So it could be, you could be releasing something from your childhood. You could be releasing something from a past life, like mother issues. Find out where this happens, okay? So for Leo, cardinal energy is going to be occurring in your 12th house. And so that tells me very clearly, this is past life stuff. Okay, this is stuff that you aren't aware of. It is stuff that is from other lifetimes with mom, lifetimes with you being mom, lifetimes with you being mom and mom being the child, or whatever. It's just all this family lineage, heritage. It's all this stuff, past, unconscious stuff. So a big healing will come. Okay, this is the support that we're going to be having at this time. Literally, I have that it's very rare. It's a new foundation because that's what the home is. Cancer energy is a new foundation. There's a healing. I have the words healing written down. And it's also going to assist in a letting go of what was held onto. Okay, and I know it's tricky because it's in the 12th house, but pay attention to your dreams at this time. Okay, I know I mentioned this before for Leos. Pay attention to dreams because, especially if you have your North Node there. I know I just recently did a chart and they had their North Node. I believe it was their no, wait. Anyway, I don't know what it was. I can't remember now, but there was something significant about that 12th house. And, well, anytime you have anything there, this is all about information coming through in your dreams, okay? So write things down and track and write just as a form of therapy for yourself, possibly. And if that doesn't work, then figure out what works for you to help you process stuff. That is the June 21st eclipse, okay? And then there is going to be another eclipse in July, and it is on July 4th. I know, I had a surprise at the end there for you, didn't I? July 4th eclipse, it is in Capricorn energy, okay? And it's at 13/14 degrees of Capricorn. All right, I'm going to do another video, so I want you to stay close. Make sure that you've hit that bell so that when I upload these videos, you're getting the information so you know how to navigate these waters. Eclipse month is all of June, right? 2 major eclipses. It's a form of understanding Gemini energy, how to be flexible, okay? We're letting go and we're going to embrace the new normal. And for the next 18 months, the new normal is constantly changing. I just got to learn to be flexible. I got to learn to be able to go left, to go right, to bob, to weave. That's the next 18 months. You embrace that. Embrace learning and teaching. This will go a long way. All right, Leo, you got any questions? Comment below, and I hope I'll put some light upon your path. Bye.